Good morning, everyone. Back at it again with what I believe will be the final push of soybean harvest 2020. If things continue to progress smoothly, we only have a few more days worth of crop to get out, and I'm hoping that this will all be concluded by the end of this video. This morning, as always, we're looking over our equipment, making sure our drapers are in operating condition for today. That way we can plow through some acres. Also, if you really want to help me out, hit that like button below. And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and just jog over a little bit and hit that subscribe button as well. Thanks, guys. Let's get to it today. When you're too far away from home to take them in for the night, the best place to park your equipment is always next to someone's house. I guess that's assuming that they're not a felon themselves, but putting some faith in them. Everything looks fine, though. That'll hold it for the day. Driving over soybean stubble is a necessary evil to get your head carts around and just move about the field, but man, it's just a matter of time before you get a flat tire. Usually once every season, maybe once every couple seasons, guaranteed. Just like driving on little needles. Corn stalks aren't as sharp, but they're a lot stiffer, so they're harder on the undercarriage of vehicles. Getting ready to move to another field, see if it's dry enough. Hopefully no one's in a hurry this morning. They even smell a little wet this morning. You can just tell. Does anyone recognize what that is right there? A piece of my wonderful Keen work boots. Their idea of work and mine must be pretty different. Kind of disappointed. Finally leaving this farm. Not gonna miss it for the rest of the season. I think the only person who really enjoys it is the oil man, which is not us. About had a heart attack going down the road. This thing bopped me in the head for the 5th or 6th time this year. Why does it keep falling out? I don't understand. These things are starting to be a real pain in the rear. Lube them up a little bit. And as you could guess, we're gonna wait a little bit. I bet we have some corn getting close to 15%. Shouldn't be long before these beans cut. Looks like none of our replant beans came up. Or they drowned out, I'm not sure.
Drowned out.
You pencil in a 0 on your terrace bottoms, you'll never be disappointed. The beans we're testing 14 to 15%, which is perfect. We're gonna go take them to a small government bin we have over at a farm to the west. Overall though, the yields I'm seeing out here, they're okay to not so great. We definitely made some mistakes out on this farm, though it's probably on the bottom of our list, or close to the bottom in terms of overall productivity. Located on the moraine like the fields we came from the other day. And, you know, I'm gonna be honest with you, we made some mistakes out here in terms of management. In our defense, and to be fair, this farm is the exact opposite of ground you want for this year. It's a rolling farm, so you think that would be great, but the terraces out here make up a substantial portion of the ground. If we didn't have it terraced, there'd be massive washes all the way across the field just from the change in slope. On top of that, this is some very tight clay soil. It does not hold water well, so it constantly needs rainfalls, and we didn't get those this year. So it suffered from too much rain and not enough rain. Too much rain on this ground usually results in a very poor stand. Even planted in great conditions, we had a lot of problems with emergence out here. We didn't get the best of stand, and we had to do a lot of replanting. I think I came out here 2 separate times to plant in. You saw out in the combine, like right here, these terrace bottoms drowned out again later in the season, so there's virtually nothing left. We can't really do a whole lot about that, but the misfire we made on this farm in terms of scouting is we didn't realize that we probably should have thrown in Roundup or some kind of grass control product in our final fungicide pass. I would say we lost some yield off the top end because of that. This grass you can see kind of growing sporadically out in the field is called fall panicum. On ground like this, if a grass starts to overtake, especially in a dry year, you're gonna suffer a lot on the yield end. We probably could have been a little bit more diligent in coming out to this field and seeing that it was coming up. It may not have been coming up when the sprayer came through. Regardless, if we could have kept that pressure down, it definitely would have helped our top end yield in this field. Overall, the average is gonna be okay because although there's a lot of poor spots, there's also a lot of spots that are gonna be 70, 80, and 90 bushel beans. It won't average as close to a lot of our farm ground, but it still will pay the bills at the end of the day. Another equally important portion of our weed control in this field is something I talked about in my enlist versus extend video. Our corn herbicide program in this field fell short very rapidly last year. Last year was extremely challenging, wetter than this year throughout the entire growing season. This farm, as I said, when it's wet, does not perform well, and when it's dry, it doesn't perform well. So we had a very poor stand of corn. Its competition against weeds wasn't that great, and our herbicide did not hold up that well, so we allowed a lot of weeds to get to seed. That's definitely part of the reason that we have a lot of water hemp in this field. It's just hard to control if you don't get it from the start. I'm not gonna pretend to you that everything we do is perfect and goes exactly as we expected. I think there's improvements we can make in our weed management, and we'll apply that next year and keep a better eye on fields like this, because that Roundup pass with the fungicide would have cost us maybe $5 an acre at most to kill this grass, and could have benefited us 5+ bushel an acre on average. That pays for itself any day of the week. You can see though, where they're good, they're great. If the whole field looked like this, the average would probably be 80 or 90. But these hills up there is what's really gonna drag us down. Combine's getting full, I better go. I just smashed my poor little finger in the window. That's what I get for working. Or I guess that's what I get for being lazy. Either one. You think I could get workers' comp for this? Maybe get the rest of the day, even the week off? I mean, I'm in a lot of pain here. And this thumb is very important. I have to grab the steering wheel with it. It's the boss's fault. He startled me awake from my nap. Do wounds heal faster if they're bandaged or if they're just out in the free air? Yeah, I'm not quite sure I like the way that looks. I think I need to stylize it a little bit. Not the prettiest, but it should hold for the next couple hours. Okay, who's the doofus who keeps leaving the windows open in the tractor parked in the middle of the field and downwind from a combine? I feel like a rally car driver trying to catch the combines in this field. Guess this is what we're doing. I'm just gonna park. Kind of hard to unload on the go. There's nothing more exciting on our farm than when we get to see a bald eagle. America! The strangest thing about seeing that eagle out here in the field is that Dad and I were literally talking this morning, less than 2 hours ago, about how we hadn't seen the bald eagle in a while. It's not a baby eagle. There's a few that live in the area, but you just don't see them that frequently. Sometimes the way events unfold and the way the world works is just strange. Can't even try to make sense of why we saw it today of all days. Just doing my part as the grain cart operator to make the combine driver's jobs easier. Don't have to come back and cut it if it's flat. Literally just happened again, another long procession of cars. Can't be 2 funerals in one day. The only option that's left is that our local community college, which is also stationed on the same road, Lakeland College, for those of you who are familiar with the area, must have just gotten out of class and they're headed away. Oh my gosh, there's like 15 cars in a row. 16. They keep coming. What in the world? They keep coming. There's more of them. That was probably 30 cars. I guess they all just got out of class and the front guy's driving slow. Beats me. Kids these days don't raise them like they used to. Rule number 1 of auger wagon operations: never sneak up behind an unsuspecting combine. Might cost you a lot of money. That really looks like rain. I'm gonna be kind of disappointed if it rains here. We got some more beans to cut today. Oh, no way. That actually is rain. The field we're about to head to is like right in this area. Hopefully it didn't rain there. Oh, it may have. Oh no. Guess we'll have to go look and find out. On to the next field. Looks like we missed the rain. I think that this farm would be a perfect candidate for some cover crops. Maybe when there was corn stalks out here last fall, we should have seeded in some rye. I think it would have held the ground better, helped with weed control, and helped with drainage. Maybe someday we'll try it out. Didn't break a single section on this rock farm. Might buy a lotto ticket. Gave the combines a little bit of a head start. We're gonna head west. It appears to be raining within a few miles to the south, but it's beautiful here. Neighbor's cutting beans right down the road to the east, so I think we're probably good to go. Not tough at all. It's gonna be a breeze cutting these. A nice added perk of these CRP filter strips that we leave set aside for wildlife and drainage filtration is that it's a great place to hook up our heads. We're ready for the combines when they're done getting a drink. Also, it does look like we may have had a few raindrops on us on the way down. That's the happy header. A little bit of a sprinkle coming across, so I better tarp the wagon. I've got like 25,000 pounds of beans on. Don't want them to get wet. A little bit of a breeze too. Not entirely sure what the weather's gonna do. I wish it would make up its mind. The temperature probably just dropped like 10 degrees at least. I need to put my jacket back on. On the bright side, at least we got this bean field cut, and it may not even be raining over west. Who knows? We met Dad on the way back here with the combine, so hopefully we'll have an update in the next couple minutes of whether or not we need to head there. It's still sprinkling, but the sun came back out. Come on, make up your mind. It's like trying to figure out my dad. Man, grain cart guy's got some problems. Can you really even have a problem if you never address it? I don't think so. One of the hardest parts about tarping your auger wagon is remembering to untarp it before someone dumps it. Thankfully, my brain's in the right place today. caught one full combine, but the other ones on the other side of this row are beans. I get extremely tired of them spacing themselves out as far as possible. Well, the first one of those dinky little 3,000 bushel government bins is full, so that means I get to run the combine while Dad moves the auger. Starting to rain again. Jeez. The 3 little bins we're working on are right up the road. Not very far at all. Dad likes to go help move the augers, make it easier on Chris and Jeff. And I get to run the S-Series combine again. Day 2. The bigger a piece of equipment is, the faster it feels like you're driving when you're actually driving fast. If that makes any sense. I'm only going like 15 miles an hour right now, but it feels like I'm flying. Whoa. The first thing I'm going to do when I die, after of course I catch up with all the people who've gone before me, is find whoever's in charge of the weather and ask them what the heck their deal is. Like, I get it can be one thing or the other, but I don't like when it's both. Just make up your mind. Watch out, Dad's in the grain cart. Accident waiting to happen. You think he'll come kick me out of the combine first or catch Katie's combine? I'm really hoping I get to run this for a bit. Although if I stay in here any longer, his heated seat's gonna have my back sweating. Oh, darn it. That answers that. In my 4 or 5 years running the grain cart on the farm, I've never once had the privilege of dumping the combine into the grain cart, or at least not on the go. I'm always the one stuck in this silly little tractor. Last dump of this field. Also, I can't feel my finger. Does that mean I did something wrong here? I guess I wouldn't really have to worry about it getting any better if it just falls off. Might be for the best. Just out doing a little crop scouting. And by crop scouting, I mean taking a leak. It's kind of windy out here. Also, that cloud looks kind of ominous. I don't really trust it. Oh no, it's starting to sprinkle. If any field has the wild lions or tigers or bears, it's this one. No way. Double rainbow. That's insane. I wonder where it's going. Obviously it's going north because God's country's to the north. Oh wait, I followed it the other way. That is a full rainbow. Incredible. You think the leprechaun that's guarding that has a gun? I might go have a word with him. I've seen a bald eagle, a double rainbow, and we cut our rockiest farm without breaking any sickles or guards on either platform. I don't know what I should do, but I need to do something that requires a lot of luck. I guess I'm a farmer, so maybe I'm just using all I've got. I think that may need a wide load sticker. Other than good looks, I don't have anything to pay for this ride. Is this one of those Ubers all those young kids are talking about? Yeah. I don't think I can afford that ride. Beautiful night out here. On to the next one. Look at that view, though. Woo! Another one's hitting the road. Harvest continues. Doesn't get much more convenient than this. The truck doesn't have to move very far to dump. Actually, it doesn't have to move at all. Chris is gonna dump that truck. I'm gonna take the head cart to the field, and eventually someone's gonna bring me back for the auger wagon. Opening up another one as the sun goes down. Go get the grain cart. Got her parked like she's for sale. Although everything is for sale for the right price. I really don't want to have to do it, but I'm about to go down the road. It's a necessary evil. Lost the battle tonight. closing up shop for the night. I've got a great feeling that tomorrow might be the final day of our soybean push. And hopefully my thumb doesn't fall off overnight. Tune in tomorrow to see. I've been assigned the nicer grease gun this morning, which is good because it's cold. Although it would probably have been nice to have the hand pump one to generate some body heat. Everything on the grain cart has been pumped full of grease. Well, that's not exactly true, except for the U-joint on the tarp. I'm not sure that I've ever greased that, but I really don't think anything's gonna go wrong with that. I'm walking out here to check to see how dry the beans are. Not really that tough. Wow, they're dry. For how cold it was this morning and how much moisture was on everything, these beans feel surprisingly dry, so we're gonna go ahead and test them out. Not taking my jacket off, so I need to simulate an Arctic climate. I'll do this and that. And it looks like that's about as far as we're cutting this morning. Guess I was wrong. Were they too wet or too tough? What moisture were they? 14.5. I guess we'll see you when they dry. Attempt 2. 12%. Holy cow, these beans are good. Also, stale Diet Coke, not a fan. Final push, we may finish up today. I'm not proud of this row of shame, but I've got to do what needs to be done. I'm even less proud of that row of shame. How did I manage that? Moving to the next field. And I finally gave up on this stupid cover. It hit me in the head at least 3 times in the last hour, so it's in timeout. Does anyone ever have those days where you feel like you're just not all there mentally, like you're not firing on all cylinders? 'Cause that's kind of how I feel today. Don't know why that is. I got a good night's rest. Also, these little cheese peanut butter crackers are probably the best snack ever. I need to figure out a better system than this. These things keep moving around. I need one of those rails that goes all the way across here, and I can mount my scales and my camera up here. Even if I tighten this screw back here, it still keeps getting, it's as tight as it goes. Back to combine duty. Chris is here with the truck, so I might as well get back in the grain cart and fill his truck so we can go to the elevator. For the good of the cause. That's dumped. I'm really a jack of all trades this afternoon. Back to some combine action. This farm is pretty notorious to being jam-packed with all sorts of surprises out in the field in terms of tile holes. I'll have to be on the lookout out here and probably keep my tongue inside my mouth so I don't bite it off when I miss one. I got behind the wheel of the truck and I was driving through the field and I was trying to figure out how to set my auto steer. So when you know you spend too much time in a tractor, you got a hand steer. Very inconvenient, I know. The cart's full. Both of our semis are backed up at the elevator. A lot of people started harvesting down to the south where we're taking it, so it's taking a while for them to get through the line. The combines are about full and we're about done with this field. So I'm gonna break our 3rd semi out of storage. That way we can get this grain out of the field and move on to the next one. Time to awaken the beast. Let's get her to the field. Wow, I'm really good at shifting. Yes, it's an automatic. Get over it. I had barely pulled the truck in and Dad was already putting beans on it. Overloading the truck's all fun and games, so you're the one who has to tarp it. Thankfully that one wasn't overloaded. Emptying out the combines and crossing another field off our list. Only a couple more to go. We gotta jog over here to this field and cut the rest of those 4 rows that were too wet a couple days ago, but they're definitely ready to be cut now. There can't be more than 5 acres out there, so we'll make quick work out of that. Sometimes when there's not a good place to get in and out of the field, you just kind of cross the ditch, nice and easy. Hope you don't blow a tire or flip the auger wagon. Ah, no problem at all. I've been promoted to truck driver. Time to do some super trucking. We're weighed in, waiting to dump. TGM Neoga. This is where a lot of our grain that we can't store in our own bins goes. I think that bin right there alone probably holds close to 1 million bushels. And Jeff's right in front of me. Not that many trucks, it just must be slow here at this pit. We're up next. Jeff's dumping right now. Due to COVID, I'm not allowed to get out of the truck and help him dump. Actually, not really. I'm just lazy. Up next, we weigh out, get our net weight and lead. Just shy of 800 bushels at 12.2% moisture. Making a quick pit stop at the combines to empty the auger wagon into Chris. Emptying this bit out and we're hitting the road, going back to the farm. Not too long of a trip. All in all, you're just another brick in the wall. Probably wouldn't hurt to put a little fuel in her. Looking for a nice out-of-the-way spot to park the grain car for the night. We just finished up our first load on this field. We just moved to one of our last fields of soybeans. The beans are getting a little too tough and it's getting a little bit too late in the night for us to continue on. Dad's taking his combine to fuel up. We're gonna come out here tomorrow and hit it hard. I'm excited because if everything goes right, tomorrow is the last day of soybean harvest. Replant beans and all. I'll see you guys then. And we're back for some super exciting soybean harvesting action. And hopefully today is the last day of that. I've got it penciled in that after we finish up this last field and cut our replant beans, we can put the drapers away. Wait, what? I'm sure there's a plan, I just don't know what it is. The only plan is that there is no plan, or at least not one I'm aware of. That's the field we're trying to get to. Now we've got easy access to get to this bean field. Oh, it's too early to be lifting something that heavy. That's all wrapped up. Hopefully that saves us like 30 minutes when we're moving from field to field, and we didn't run over any beans in the process. So everyone's happy. According to the combine, the moisture on that corn was 14 to 15%. I'm not really sure I trust that because it also said we were cutting soybeans. I think that may kind of fudge the numbers a little bit. I really doubt it's 14% corn, but if it is, we're gonna have a lot to do here in the next few days. I just took a look at the forecast for today and tomorrow, and there's a chance of rain starting at 5 p.m. today. I am really gonna push to see if we can get all these beans cut. Our last field of replant is over in Windsor, which is gonna be a probably 2 or 3 hour process. If we can steamroll through the rest of these acres, we can be done. I'd really hate to have to go back there like a couple weeks from now and cut those, whereas we could do it now and get it done and forget about it. Things don't always work out that smoothly, but that's the game plan. Given that these Don Mario 3.7 Enlist beans were planted about 3 or 4 weeks later than the rest of our soybean crop, they look pretty good. Obviously, with the conditions we had this growing season, in this farm specifically, we're gonna have some low yielding areas. I think any bean we planted out here was gonna struggle in the terrace bottoms and also on some of these clay knobs on the hill. Get that double whammy from too much rain and then not enough rain. Where they didn't face an overwhelming amount of pressure from Mother Nature, the beans look great. There's multiple terraces across this farm. There's really nothing you can do in terms of productivity there, especially when you get a 4-inch rain in July. The beans aren't going to survive that. I showed you in the last video how those drapers can kind of flex over terrain, but the degree of elevation change right here is just too much for them to be able to compensate for. Sometimes we'll come in and cut the terraces sideways, that way we can get as many beans. When you leave something like this, especially on a long strip of the field, it adds up pretty quickly to serious money. Regardless of how this specific variety of soybeans turn out, we're actually really pleased with the Enlist weed control system out on these fields. I won't say that we really had a fair apples to apples comparison versus our Xtend beans. They just faced completely different conditions, especially because we planted them so much earlier. This Enlist system though is so much simpler and smoother than Xtend. And if the genetics can compete with the Xtend genetics, I don't know why you wouldn't plant them. We're still waiting to collect and analyze yield data on our farm and around to see whether or not these Enlist beans are going to be as competitive, but I think we're kind of leaning in that direction for next season. I told you guys he was going to do that. You should have listened to me. You get a much lower and smoother cut across the ground when you come sideways on these terraces. He hasn't not told me to go get in that combine, so I'm going to go use my allotted 5 minutes of combine time for the day. Well, I was just about to sit down in the seat, and he called me and told me that they weren't quite ready yet. The sun's starting to break through, and we have a little bit of a breeze. Maybe they'll go here soon. Other than me not getting to run the combine this morning, the real disappointing part of this is that the longer we wait, the less chance we finish soybeans today. Every minute we wait for these soybeans to become harvestable is another minute that rain creeps in. Beans are dry, and I gotta run the combine. Win-win. This is one of those farms where you really hope that your automatic header height control works. Hope we just glide over these terraces. I wonder if my pay is prorated higher for my time in the combine. Might have to take that up with the money man. Given the size of the field and the amount of terraces out here, I don't think I'm gonna bring the grain cart. Since I wasn't gonna have to run the grain cart, I was just getting settled into the truck for my mid-afternoon nap, and I was interrupted by Dad in the S670 telling me that I could run that while he does something else. One of the main reasons that I don't enjoy running the combine is the groan of the rotor puts me to sleep. It's like a lullaby in the background all the time. When I was a kid and I'd come riding the combine, bam, I'd be asleep immediately. Last pass of this field. A little snug. There is some kind of solace farming right next to Mom and Dad's house. Not that I need to use the bathroom, but if I did have some kind of emergency, I could find peace very quickly. To be honest, our biggest worry with these beans was whether or not they were going to be able to stretch their legs to the same extent that Xtend soybeans can. When the conditions were right, they can yield. To be very objective and fair, the field average isn't even going to be close to the numbers you just saw on the screen. What those numbers do indicate though is that if we put these beans on our good ground, they could really hold their own. They were so good I plugged the head. Got to ease this pile in, that way I don't plug it again. Oh, darn it. Back out you go. Pace yourself. This is a marathon, not a sprint. Get in there. A little bit of you. Ooh. Heard the slip clutch a little bit. Okay, Hopefully that's the last time I do that this season. You don't quite realize how slow combines go through the field until you're waiting on one to get out of your way. Hurry up. We're trying to outpace a rain right now that's about a county away. We've got 25 acres left to cut. I really don't think there's any chance we're gonna get to the replants today, but if we can at least finish all of our initial planted soybeans, I'll take that as a victory. I gotta take this load to the elevator once Katie dumps on the truck. Hopefully the combines don't run into any issues in the next 30 minutes or so and we can win this shootout with Mother Nature. I'm not a betting man though, and usually things don't work out the way you want them to. The combines are just cracking into this last field. There's raindrops on the windshield. Looks like we have a slight mist coming across the countryside. This one's gonna be a close one. Probably come down to the wire, but we're gonna try and hammer it out here. Looks like the rain's picking up here down in the south as I get closer to Neoga. And the bad news is, I didn't have enough of a load on to justify tarping it, and I probably should have. This definitely isn't helping me at all. All right, doesn't matter what happens to me at this point. They've already broke the load. It can start pouring for all I care. Pretty decent line. I'll probably be here for another 30 minutes before I even get it down. This truck gets 2 radio stations, and it rattles everywhere. Every part of this truck feels like it's gonna fall apart. Respect to the guys sitting in line at Cabless International Tractor pulling wagons. I'm pretty comfortable here in my cab. I kind of wish I had a sleeper so I could just go back there and take a nap. It's only been 10 minutes. Line's moving faster than I thought it would. I'm up next in line, and I was about right on time. Headed back north to see if the combines are still rolling. I'm glad I got to the elevator when I did, because by the time I left, there was probably 15 trucks in line. I bet it went from a 30-minute wait to a 45, 50-minute wait easy. Oh, they're still running? No way. We're gonna get this finished in the rain. Let's go. It's starting to get a little bit tacky out here from the rain, but all we have left is that little tiny itty bitty pass of soybeans. Mission accomplished. We'll call that a victory. Still got some replant beans to go, but I'm satisfied with this amount being done. When we replant soybeans in June anyways, we kind of know that they're not going to amount to much, or at least not near as much as the first planting. So it's a major accomplishment for us this season to have all of our original planted soybeans out of the ground. The issue that a rain like this causes on soybeans actually isn't directly related to the moisture test of the soybeans on the truck as we go to the elevator. It's related to the harvestability of the soybeans. As the soybeans plants, stems, and pods get covered in moisture, they don't quite agree with the combines well. This is the same reason that we can't harvest super early in the morning sometimes. If the rain has a little bit of time to sit on the pods and soak into the seed, that's when you'll start to see that moisture start to go up at the elevator. We don't want to get docked, but I think we're going to be okay here. Cleaning off the heads. Headed home. The only thing worse than soybean dust is wet soybean dust. Ah! I'm taking this partial load to the elevator. Katie and Dad are fueling up their combines and putting them in the barn tonight. We got some heavier rain moving in and we're gonna keep everything dry. Just got back with the truck from the elevator. That is a very boring way to spend the hour. Looks like while I was gone, Katie and Dad got all the equipment parked away in the barn. I would describe this parking job as squeezed. The equipment is squeezed in right now. As you can probably see outside and here on the roof of the barn, the rain has picked up pace pretty significantly in the last hour. That's gonna be enough to make a stop for the rest of the day, but if we don't accumulate too much moisture overnight, we may be able to pick some corn tomorrow. I am absolutely ecstatic to be done cutting soybeans. Completely done is not the right word, maybe 99% done. We've got a handful of replant acres that we're gonna have to go back out when it dries up and cut, but I would consider having all of your first planted crop out a victory. Let me give you a look inside the farmer's mind during harvest season. Day one, you blast out of the gate, super excited, uncontrollably ecstatic that you're finally getting to take the combines out to the field and harvest the crop that you've worked so hard on all season. You're calling all your buddies, you're calling all your help. Get the combine, get the headers, let's go find some crops to pick. Is it dry enough? Is it too wet? What's the yield? Ah, soybeans! And then by day two, the honeymoon period is already over. You're kind of like, oh, here we go. Like, this is gonna take a while. And then day three rolls by, and then 4, and then 5. And the next thing you know, you can't remember what day of the week it is because every day you're in a combine or a grain cart or whatever your role is on the farm, and it's kind of a grind. At that point, you're not thinking, oh man, I cannot wait to harvest this field. You're really thinking, is it supposed to rain today? I really don't want to work. Oh man, I'd love to sleep in. Oh, I hope we don't break down. Then at a certain point, you realize the end is in sight. Kind of like today was for us. We see those last few acres of soybeans left to harvest, and we're starting to get excited again. We sharply transition out of that continuous daily grind to a little bit of excitement on the tail end of our soybean crop, knowing that we're about to bring the last of it home. That was just soybean harvest for us. We get to rinse, wash, and repeat that same thing for corn. Corn is a completely different beast too. It requires much more manpower than soybeans. Soybeans requires less logistics, Less people, less everything. Corn, you're gonna need logistics, you're gonna need storage, you're gonna need energy, because there is a lot of grain to move. With the rain continuing to come down and not much else to do on our list, I think I'm gonna end the video here. That's probably enough farming for one day. As always, I really appreciate your support. Thank you for tuning in. Like the video if you enjoyed it, subscribe if you wanna see more, and comment if you have any questions. You know I love to talk about farming. Have a great night, everyone. Peace. Sweet dreams, my tractor friends. Rest easy. Hopefully we see you tomorrow. Or maybe not. I actually hope we don't see you tomorrow. Maybe Monday is better for me.